Welcome to today's edition of Weather to Watch. We've got some big snows finally developing out west. Actually, the Sierra Nevada has had some bigger snows, but some of those other mountainous areas out west have kind of been missing the snow, and at least here for a while, they're going to get back in the swing of things. And there's a severe storm potential. The biggest one, I think, is coming up later this week. We'll dive in. Welcome to the video. My name is Ted Keller, meteorologist Ted Keller, and we're watching the lower 48 here. And there's a couple of interesting features on the visible satellite loop. We have a decaying area of fog here. You can kind of tell the way it kind of erodes away at the edges. We have fast-moving weather systems moving through the north and east, basically. A big storm way off coast, and then very, very stormy out west with lots of circulations and lots of moisture bands feeding into that part of the world. If you take a look at the 500 millibar, it makes perfect sense because we have this short wave here responsible for that offshore storm. We have a little tiny fast-moving one here. Another one's going to come around off the map here, really. And then we've got a couple of kind of a double-barreled system here. We got one up in the northwest and one coming ashore around Los Angeles. On the surface map, we have high pressure sending over the Appalachians, basically. Another cool front whipping through the north. That's going to keep temperatures in the far, far north cool. But as you'll see in a minute, the overall temperature pattern is a very, very warm one. And there's that surface low connected with that upper level low there south of San Jose there in California. And, of course, the temperatures are indicated by the colors on this map here. So you see it's a pretty balmy pattern across much of the U.S. The EPS weeklies that were run Thursday, but starting today, and we'll get an update on this tomorrow, but it does show a tendency to be very trophy at the 500 millibar level out west and very ridgy, as we say, in the eastern U.S. So that just generally implies a strong jet stream flows between these two like this. And where you have ridging, you have warm temperatures. Where you have that lowering of heights aloft, low pressure aloft, then basically you have colder temperatures, and that's reflected certainly in the surface temperature anomalies for the week starting today. So the central U.S. is basically baking, and finally the Northeast is getting a little warmer too, and only the western U.S. is going to be a little cool, with western Canada seeing the biggest anomaly. Let's take a look at those temperature trends. We have 60s going all the way up into Iowa, into parts of South Dakota, and 30s and 40s in North Dakota. Nothing to shake a stick at either. That's pretty warm for them this time of year. 80s coming out over Texas, much of western Texas in the 80s or close to it. And only the western, let's say, 1/4 of the U.S. is actually a little bit below normal. Once again, the temperatures are at the cities are the highs, and then the colors are whether it's above or below normal. So that's for tomorrow, Tuesday. And then we go ahead to Thursday, still very warm, about half of the U.S., and equally as warm. So 70s showing up in a lot of places, 73 in St. Louis, 54 in Chicago, pretty warm for them, and the warm spreading out east. And again, the epicenter of the above normal temperatures is right there over Missouri and Illinois. But you're starting to see now things cooling off across the western U.S. with highs only around 10 in Montana and the northern part of North Dakota. So that's pretty significant. But even that moderates a little bit as we go into Saturday. With, again, the same area warm, but just not as warm as it was. And the same area out west basically cool, but not as cool. So a little moderation there. If you take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, now this starts Sunday, this coming Sunday, and goes through Thursday of next week. We still have a high confidence of above normal temperatures across the plains, basically, but only the northwest corner of the U.S., with a kind of a so-so confidence that it'll be cool up there, but certainly a lot of confidence with the warmth there in the central plains. There is snow falling, and I hinted at that at the beginning of the video. Let's take a look at it. This is a 72-hour National Weather Service snow forecast. You can see there's a clipper system moving from North Dakota into the UP of Michigan, including northern Minnesota, areas in the Arrowhead region. That red color is basically indicating that they could get up to 18 inches of snow up there as a result of this system. But as I showed you at the very beginning, took a part of this graph right here and put it in there, the Sierra Nevada getting pounded with heavy snow. The purple colors are 72 inches of snow. And so quite a bit falling there across many of the mountain chains. We'll take a closer look at that. This is only 48 hours, though, the Weather Service official forecast. But you can see some of the stations that are on here include a 53-inch total there. And so, but what you don't see is the 60-plus inches indicated by this solid yellow color here. So very, very snowy in the Sierra. Of course, California depends on snowpack in the Sierra to get water, snow melt, and water down into the valleys in their drier, nicer season. And that's exactly what's happening. Winter weather advisories in effect for the purple, and then this kind of pinkish color is winter storm warnings in effect for much of the West. We also have a winter storm watch in effect for much of the northern plains, high northern plains, and a winter storm warning in effect in that Arrowhead region. There is a severe thunderstorm aspect to this, and let's take a look at that. While there are some minor chances for severe weather between now and this day, Thursday, including maybe a little bit on Tuesday, Thursday is certainly the one that the SPC, Storm Prediction Center, has highlighted. And for them to highlight something, anything in the 4 to 8 day period, is pretty significant. So that's what they're saying for Thursday. 15% chance of any type of severe weather within a 25-mile radius, including southern Illinois and Indiana. Going to dive more into this here. I did want to show you the machine learning model out of Colorado State University is a little more robust. So here's the SPC's outlook I just showed you. And on the left here, it actually expands that and even includes a 30% probability there in southern Indiana. Again, that's any severe weather, hail, wind, or tornado. So Thursday's looking interesting. I wanted to show you two models here. This is the EPS. Again, at this distance, the ensemble means are probably your best bet until we get a little bit closer. Strong jet stream flowing here. This is what we would call the exit region of a jet stream. And this is a favorable area of lift in this area too. And I want to show you what's happening if we take a look at the same model. Now we look at surface pressures. We have a very interesting low-level development here. This low develops in extreme northwest of Missouri. And so somewhere in here, there's going to be a warm front. And this is going to be very interesting. There could be a boundary that really sets up if we can get enough instability and moisture up into this area. Looks like some scattered, maybe supercell thunderstorms could develop in this area. It's a possibility. Let's take a look at the American version of this, see if it agrees. And it mostly does. The GEFS, same time, Thursday, same jet streak here. Notice it's still trophy out west, so we may not be done with all this yet, but I did want to focus on this day. Remember, the Storm Prediction Center is outlining this area right here with the machine learning, maybe expanding that a little bit more and intensifying it over Indiana. And it has a low-pressure area developing, too, only a little bit more to the east. Again, somewhere in here, there could be a frontal boundary, probably a warm front. Most likely there will be, by the way. And, and for tornado development, a surface low helps because basically what it does is it helps to turn the winds toward the low. So you get that low level southeasterly wind like that, and it provides that extra little spin at the lowest part of a thunderstorm potentially, and could up the tornado chance a little bit with this. Again, we're a couple of days out. We'll take another look at this, of course, as we get a little bit closer. 3, 2, 1. Just real quick, I wanted to show you total precipitation. If it snows, this assumes we're going to melt the snow and get you a liquid equivalent. So basically, this is the snow streak that has the winter storm watch connected with it and the winter storm warning there in the Arrowhead. This, though, is just rain in the southeast. This is over the next 5 days. It's not day-specific or storm-specific. And, of course, this is a combination of rain and, of course, the snows in the higher elevations out in California, Oregon, to a lesser extent, Washington. And it's interesting because the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook actually is pretty wet over the Great Lakes, but a high confidence of California being above normal with precipitation. Much of the Northwest, same story. That's a new feature I added. This is a 8 to 14 day outlook, so basically week 2. So you just go forward to day 8, which would be the beginning of 2 weeks from now, and then talk about what's going to happen 7 days after that. So this is the snow hazards version of that, and does have a slight risk right here, slight, moderate, high, slight risk of snow hazards in the Great Lakes states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and parts of Minnesota, and also the Northeast. If we turn our attention to the same time period, only out west, moderate risk of heavy snows in the Cascades and down into the Sierra Nevada, maybe a somewhat lesser chance over the northern part of the Rockies there in Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. And then precipitation-wise, on the rain side of things, slight risk of above normal or rain hazards through that second week period there in the Tennessee and Ohio River valleys. Basically, that's something we need to watch as well. And to go along with that, last map I'll show you for 2 weeks, the 2-week period for the 23rd through the 2nd, already into March, the supercell composite is starting to light up a little bit in this area here. So while the rains will be concentrated out here eventually, it looks like the instability will maybe be contributing to severe thunderstorms in that area. A little hard to know for sure, but at a 2-week forecast, is there a grain of salt included with that? Yes, there is. Always, of course. The longer out into time, more distant in time you go, less accurate, but I do see consistency in the forecast, which is a sign that there's probably a higher likelihood than not that these things will show up. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.